Today we're going to talk about ginger because I've already done turmeric and I want to show you how it grows. I'm going to harvest one of my containers. Hi, it is Robbie from Southern California. This is what I do in the morning before I have breakfast. I come out and I try to get some stuff done in the garden. Now, being that it's so muddy right now, I'm putting on gloves. I don't want to get just full of mud. Now see the ginger is on the top? I started with one small piece and I mark my ginger with tote lids that are cut up that are kind of this limey color, yellowish green. And this way I don't have to label it, write anything on it. I know where my ginger is. My turmeric's done in pink. This is done in that color. Now here you're actually seeing me turn this pot, which is about 1.5 gallons upside down. Yep, there are earthworms in there. They found their way in there. I didn't put them in there. And there are holes on the bottom of the pots. They need really good drainage. Now, being we're having more rain coming, and we have been getting rain, I'm going to start getting all my ginger out. Because one thing it doesn't like is wet and cold. And we've been in the 40s at night and we are too wet with the rain that keeps coming. It doesn't have enough time to dry. And what could possibly happen is my large, beautiful ginger could rot in the pots because it's just too wet right now. Now, have you noticed something? The ginger is on the top. It's growing only towards the surface. The bottom has these great big fat roots, which would normally, in the tropics where they grow, hold water and food and nutrients for the rhizomes and feed the plant. But it's not growing on the bottom like turmeric does. You can go back and watch the video that I did last week where the turmeric goes down deep into the pot. It can go many, many inches, even a foot down, where turmeric grows on the top. As the rhizomes normally spread along the top. It's a surface grower. At times, I have grown some of them in dishpans. Flower pots are just easier for me, but you can grow it in whatever way you want. In other words, for me, it's just easier to harvest in flower pots. Now, the roots, we've tasted them, we've washed them clean. They don't taste that great. I mean, they have no flavor. But I'm going to tell you something. When you grow your own ginger, the flavor is unreal, even better than the flower. Now, that's the mother plant. It's a little bit dried out, and the rest of it, all that grew off that main plant. That's how I planted that one. Now, here is the flower pot. See the hole on the bottom? And to replant it, I'm going to just stuff it with whatever I've got. Now, they're heavy feeders, so you could add in leaves and different things on the bottom, and they'll feed off of that. I use this like nature does, and this way it creates plant food. So I stuff it on the bottom that way, and it also helps with drainage that way. And then I like to mix the soil up with whatever I've got. Leaves, and I've used pepper tree leaves. I once grew ginger and turmeric only in pepper tree leaves, and it worked good too. So I mix leaves and different things in there. And oh, look at this shovel. I just bought that from Walmart. Isn't that nice? Yeah, the one on the left, it's plastic, and the other one's from Dollar Tree. That's under $1, and they're really nice shovels. So I just wanted to let you know, I love trying out products and seeing what you guys might like. Now I add in leaves. This is some colored leaves, different brassicas, and this is going to feed the plant. And I load it in there. Now we're in zone 10A, but the main thing that these plants like, the ginger plants, is warm weather, and that's day and night. So they need those warm nights as well. Between 68 and 70 degrees. So once we have our nights warm, will be the time when really take off in the middle of May and into June. And usually around November, they are dying back and the leaves turn brown. And that's usually a good time to get in there. But I leave it in the soil. I will tell you something. If you pick them out of the soil and bring them in the house, they're going to dry out in a matter of about a week. Once they start drying out, you'll lose them. You won't be able to plant them. So what you have to do is wash it up and refrigerate what you're going to want to eat, which will last for a couple weeks in your refrigerator, and in the freezer will last longer, but you can't take it out of the freezer and grow it. So that is something I want you to know. We can store it, and I do store them a lot of times in soil in the house. We're going to wash this off so you can see how much grew on this one small piece. So it is really easy to grow. When you get them out of the grocery store, they have a growth inhibitor on there. That's why they can sit on the shelf for weeks, sometimes months. There's something on there so it won't grow or dry out. You don't see it, but it's there. You would really want to soak it overnight to try to get that off. Once you get it off, you can grow it. Now, of course, with your fresh ginger, we're not putting anything on it. So we have to kind of decide right away which ones we're going to want to grow and which ones we want to, eat, and that you can freeze, and I take it out when it's in the freezer and grate it up. Fresh ginger that you grow won't have tough skin unless you leave it sitting out on the counter. The skin will get hard like a potato, and you will have to start to kind of scrape it away with a spoon or a knife. But when it's fresh, I don't even bother. You can just rub it with a sponge and just take it off that way, and then grate it up and use it in any dishes you want, whether it's stir fry or cookies, whatever you're going to eat it with. It is fantastic, and blend it up, make a drink out of it too. So here I am washing this off. Now you can grow a ton of it, and I think this year I'm going to grow a lot more in dish pans. It's still easy for me to take over to a wheelbarrow, tip upside down, and get into it. I don't grow them in totes anymore because it's just too hard to dig up. You can do it though. You can grow it in the ground if you've got nice, warm soil and good drainage. You can grow it any way you want. And I want to show you here. Now this is the part that was the mother plant. All this on the side, as you can see it going along, and all this on the bottom is all new. That's what grew last year. All this, it kind of goes sideways, but they don't grow down. And that's a big hint. So you don't want to have a very narrow pot when you're growing ginger because it wants to spread sideways and it can get impacted. This you don't want to eat. Clean off the roots and you'll be good to go. You can just pull them off, cut them off, and whatever you want to do. Now I can bring this in. I've got a good week or two to decide what I want to do with this, but I want you to see how it grows. Now, will the mother plant grow? Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So if you're going to put the mother plant back, put an extra piece in there just in case it doesn't grow, and then you're for sure will have ginger growing in there. But it's the easiest thing to grow. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it here, but I don't know if I'm going to leave it in the pot because we're still 48 degrees at night. And though I could bring the pot in and keep it in a nice, warm, humid environment, maybe like a bathroom or something, and then just the smallest amount of dampness to the soil because it won't dry out when it's under soil. And a lot of times I just store it in potting mix, but it will dry out to the air. Now, let's say I was going to grow this piece. Now, I would normally let it sit out for a couple days just so where I broke it off will kind of dry up and it won't hopefully rot or anything. But I'm going to show you what I would do. I would put it in there just like that. That's how I did this piece. And then I would cover it with soil so it's not exposed on the top. And it is good if you see it start to come to the top. You can put a few leaves, mulch on top, but sometimes I don't, and it's just fine. You really want that part to dry up. And then you just cover it. Now, being again that our weather is wet and cold, it could rot, and it may not, but you would want to put it there, cover it with soil, and label it. You're not going to see it until the weather is warm, and that means your night temperatures are in the upper 60s and your day temperatures hopefully are in the 70s to 80s by then. It loves warm weather, but it doesn't like a lot of sunlight. If it gets too much sun when it's hot, the leaves will turn brown and it will suffer and not grow as good. And that's all there is to it. It is the easiest thing to grow once you start. And this is all turmeric here. I grow my ginger in the front yard, but that's all there is. Now I'm going to hang my gloves out to dry because I get a lot of use out of them, usually 3 or 4 times of gardening. And I'm going to go have breakfast. So I hope I gave you some ideas on how to grow ginger. With that, have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. Oh, I love ginger. I think I'll make some ginger cookies. And you know who loves ginger cookies too? Oh yes, Zoe, our Yorkie, loves to have a little bit of a treat of cookies made with ginger. Now definitely go try growing some ginger. It's such a beautiful plant too.